I don't love Starbucks, but this was something I found at a gas station, and it's air sealed, so I kept it in there for the emergencies. And today we need a coffee. Well, howdy do, friends. It's been a little while since I've made a video. Last week's video was doing the Washington backcountry discovery route, or at least a portion of it, with a couple friends. And that was about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, I'd say. So, been a little while since we've made a video. I just drove up here to Mount Hood National Forest and came down a forest road, and it was impossible to find a nice flat camp spot. I'm not camping today, but I'm just out here enjoying the forest, having some coffee, and wanted to update you guys on the setup in the cruiser and our gear. I'm going to run you through what we have added and what we've taken away since our last gear video. If you haven't seen the last gear video, I'll link it here. I go through detail at everything we have, so I probably won't go as in detail as I did in that video. I've made a few updates to the drawer system here, just like some aesthetic stuff that I wanted to show you because you probably saw it in the last video. I didn't really talk about it. So let's hop into it. Alright, so first, if you saw any of our cross-country trip videos, you saw that this side, the left side had a drawer. The right side, when we bought it, had the extra back seat here. I took that out and I built an extra kind of separate structure to shove some stuff under and to create a flat sleeping platform. I really didn't like the look of it, and I didn't love the look of the gray stain on the wood, so I decided to splurge and get some really nice Baltic birch. So, you know, I've refaced the whole top here with Baltic birch. I basically just used everything as a template, recut out all of this stuff. I think it looks pretty nice. I do need to put a little bit of a stain on it because I want to protect it. But I refaced these drawers here, and I moved the handles over to each side because with them in the middle, when we would pull out the middle, it would strain these points here. One of the pocket screws inside had pulled out, so I reinforced them in the actual side of the drawer. So I'm pretty happy with how this looks. I went and bought some leather, made some little leather handles. That pulls out. If you haven't seen our walk around of the whole video, or of the whole cruiser, I will link that as well so you can check that out. So first, let's talk about the kitchen. I've narrowed down quite a bit of what we have in our kitchen. Just got a place for all of our utensils. We've got our little MSR pocket stove here, and then all of our seasonings and oils. Now I put this in because, you know, I was just using a basket previously, so it's nice to have some separation so all this stuff doesn't go flying around. We've got a couple of pots and pans here. I've covered all of these in our previous gear video, but they're mostly just GSI pans. These pans are fantastic. I love these things so much. And then we've got our Coleman Triton 2. I've got a little Snow Peak French press that I don't really ever use as a French press. We've got our cutting board down here. We've got some little marshmallow hot dog roasters. Got some bags. And then we have this Wolf and Grizzly fire grate that we actually have not even used. I'm a little bummed about that, but typically we just don't cook over the campfire anymore. We used to do it a whole lot more than we do now, but also we're getting into fire season here, so probably will be another season before we even touch that. As for coffee, you just saw me make some coffee, but I got my Kalita Wave with some filters. I've got my GSI pot, and then we use a little home kitchen scale to measure everything. If you'd like to see my coffee method, I've also made a video on that, so I'll link that here as well. But overall, I'm super happy with the kitchen pullout. It makes everything so much easier. Super happy with how this came out. Super happy with how it looks now. I haven't replaced the wood in here. I'm thinking I'll probably end up rebuilding this entire drawer system in the coming months, and also put another drawer on this side, an actual pull-out drawer. So I'll keep you updated on that. We've got the Hopper 230 here. So we've had this thing for probably 4 or 5 years now. It's a great cooler, you know, it's fine. If you have watched any of our previous videos, you know that we had a Yeti 105 hardside cooler. The more we used that thing, the more I realized that it was just too much space. It took up way too much space in the back of the Prius and in the back of the Cruiser. So I went ahead and sold that, and I am planning on purchasing something smaller. Reliance water jug. This thing's good and solid, no complaints. Here, I've also done a video on this here, but now we're using this as a pantry. So we're putting all our dry goods in here, and it's able to lock. So, you know, if I do happen to need to leave it outside, I can lock it up and it's bear proof. So that's really cool. And then back here, we've just got another little small cooler. I toss some beers in there sometimes. This actually goes to a little backpack. It slides in the bottom, and you know, you can carry some drinks or some food around in it. So that pretty much covers it for the kitchen. We have a little REI table. You have probably seen that style of table before. It's just like the one where it folds up and, you know, the legs fold out. Right now, pretty much the only thing that comes out of the Cruiser and hits the ground is that table and our chairs. So when I pull out that table, I set up the cooler, I set up the pantry and the water, and it all fits nicely on the table. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, because before, you know, we were moving stuff around and like putting totes in the front and taking stuff out. I've simplified everything down quite a bit. Let's move on to just our kind of general camp tote. This is a temporary solution, but to be completely honest, it works totally fine. I found this little tote at Lowe's, I believe. It's got little wheels on it, slides right under there, and it allows me a little bit more room in case I do need to just like shove some stuff up in front of it. So in here, we've got a shovel, we've got some binoculars, we've got a tarp, we've got our trash picker, which I will have to use before we leave because there's a friggin' sock out here. Who the hell leaves a sock in the middle of the woods, huh? What are you doing? That's so weird. We've got our leveling blocks here. Definitely seen me use these. I'm actually using them right now because I needed a flat platform to make the coffee. So those come in handy all the time because most of the time you're not sleeping on a perfectly flat platform or ground. All right, we got some Firebox stove gloves. Shout out to Firebox. Love Firebox. If you haven't watched their YouTube channel, you should definitely do that. We got a Frisbee for fun times. And this is actually a recent purchase. This is a little X-Ped electric mattress pump. So we use that for our X-Ped mattress now. It makes it 20 million times easier to set up when we get to camp because the only thing that comes with this mattress is a hand pump. Let's see what else we got in here. We got all of our lights, little charging battery pack. Got some duct tape, some bug spray. We've got Cooper's tether leash here. You know, just kind of the general stuff. The general stuff that you need when you go camping. Got some pocket bellows for when we need to stoke the fire. We've got a little hatchet. I've got my silky saw. Sorry that this tote is an absolute mess. I have not really even been in here in like 3 weeks. And a little broom in case we make a little mess back here. And we also have a little water filter. This is actually a great product. I love this bladder. It is from Knock Outdoors. So it's got a big mouth up top. It opens up. You can scoop water into it. And then it's got this little bottle cap fitting on the bottom. So you can use it with, you know, like a Sawyer Squeeze or this Hydro Blue Versa. Very, very handy. Holds 2 liters of water. So, you know, if we're ever out and we run out of water, we can at least get some drinking water. Again, pretty happy with how this whole setup has come out. You know, this stuff pretty much just stays in the truck now permanently. Another cool recent purchase that we just got are these solar powered string lights. We bought these on our road trip as well because, you know, we wanted some nice ambiance, and we didn't have any string lights. So how this works is it's just a little cylinder here, and you spin it open and it pops up, and then the lights just kind of string out, if I can get it. So these are really cool. We leave these up on the dashboard face up, so they can just charge while we're driving in the solar, in the sun. This is from Empowered. The letter M and powered. It also doubles as a little charging station in case you don't need to use the lights. And under here, oh, hello. Uh-oh, splinter. Under here, I've got some recovery stuff, like our tree saver. I've got some oil, some coolant, and a tool bag here. So, you know, you always got to have your tools and extra fluids and such. So that pretty much doesn't get touched unless we need something specific. So it's kind of a nice little stowaway there. All right, so now I'm going to show you what is up in the Yakima box. So we used to stuff this thing absolutely to the brim when we used the Prius because I didn't want to have a lot of stuff in the car. So now it's a little bit more roomy. I still don't love having this thing on the top of the truck because it just looks a little funny to me. I would eventually like to upgrade the roof rack and maybe get like a Prensu style roof rack where I can mount some boxes up there, mount the awning when we get that. So yeah, definitely some updates to come, but let me show you what's up here. We've got our trusty toilet number 1. So this is a little folding toilet. I just used this thing on the side of the trail because when nature calls, nature calls. So great thing to have in any situation when you gotta poop. You know, it's fine to dig a hole when you need to if you don't have a toilet or something, but it's also really great to pack out your waste, because the more that we get out there in the forest, the more people that are getting out there, the more likely it is that somebody's not gonna poop right out in the forest, or poop correctly in the forest, should I say. So if you can spare, I don't know, $15, grab you one of these, you know, toss it in your rooftop box, because I know it's a kind of a gross thought, but it's necessary when we're out here in the woods, right? Because we got to take care of it. So if you can pick one of those up, I would highly recommend it. We also have our little Ryobi chainsaw. Haven't had to use this thing in quite some time, but it's nice to have. You know, I'm out here on a pretty remote trail. Not necessarily remote, but just very non-trafficked trail. So if I came up on a tree or something, or I needed to cut some firewood, it's great to have that thing. We've got a little bucket here with a little hole in the bottom now. We just use this as a gray water catcher. And I've also got my splitting maul here. This is a little Fiskars splitting maul I got from Lowe's. And then also we keep our camp chairs up here now. We've got 3 of those. If you haven't seen me use this chair, this is a REI brand chair. It's like fleece lined. You can kind of see it's lined with this material here. It's lined with that material. And it is the most comfy chair you will ever sit on in the winter. And then we've also just got our Camp X chairs from REI as well. I've got some absolute flimsy pieces of crap traction boards. I got those at Fred Meyer for like $25. And I bought them when we had the Prius. I don't expect those to do much, but hey, you know, if I'm in a pinch and I need something, it'll be a one-time use probably kind of thing. So up here we actually have reflectics that fit all of the windows in the Land Cruiser. So the previous owner had cut all of these custom and he gave them to me when we bought the car, which was super nice. So we have used these quite a bit, especially on our trip. We used them when it was hot outside, and you know, if we needed some privacy while sleeping inside the car. So as far as our actual camping gear goes, like I said, we've got the Exped Mega Mat Duo. It's about a 4-inch thick mattress with an air pump. You know, it takes maybe 5 minutes or less to air up, and it is definitely the most comfortable thing you will ever sleep on. Here I've got my Kelty Discovery 30-degree bag. I basically just use this thing as a blanket. I hardly ever need to fully wrap up in it because the Exped is so warm. And this is the rest of our sleeping gear. So we've got some hammock straps. We've got a little pillow. We've got a rumple blanket. This thing is fantastic. Little tiny fella. Extra air pad. We've got Kim's sleeping bag here. A couple of hammocks. All the good stuff. Cooper's bed. Some extra pillows in case we forget our real pillows at home. So when we did our walk around video, some people had asked to see the front of the cruiser because we didn't really show anything in the front. So I'll give you a little rundown of what's up here. It's, nothing fancy, but there's a few things that we could probably talk about. A recent purchase on our road trip was actually this Ram mount, and this thing has been an absolute lifesaver. I had thought about buying some of the drill-in tracks to go up on the dash here, but Kim was pretty hesitant to drill into the dash, and I didn't want to screw anything up. So we just got the suction cup mount. I would love to have another one to mount the camera, but as it stands, what we do with the camera now is we clamp this little fella on there, and it works out pretty well. We've been down some pretty rough trails, and this thing is held on pretty tight. It's not too bad. In the future, we'll probably end up getting a GoPro or something that I can just keep up here permanently. That way we don't have to have such a robust camera mount here. All right, continuing on in the front here, we have a scan gauge, and also the previous owner installed that as well. It's really nice to be able to monitor coolant temperature, voltage. You can do all kinds of stuff with this. It gives me average MPG and then current MPG as well. I haven't even really done a whole lot with this thing, but there's a whole lot of stuff you can monitor that's really cool. Now, as far as power management goes, the only thing we have at the moment is this small inverter. This is something I bought on Amazon for maybe $20. It does the job, but obviously it only runs when the car is running. Definitely some plans in the future to upgrade our power management system. Probably just like a Jackery type of thing, some sort of Goal Zero, whatever. I don't know what brand we're gonna go with, but back here, we've got this little 12-volt plug. I'll probably find a nice little permanent spot for the Jackery back here, or power bank, whatever you want to call it. That way, when we're driving, it can charge up when we get to camp. If we need to use our laptops or charge our phones without turning the car on, we can just do that real quick and easy. Well, y'all, I think that about covers all of our gear updates, except I did forget one thing. If you watched my unboxing of the Ignit gas growler, I currently do not have one of those. It broke on the second time that I filled it up at the gas station. I don't know if it's because the product was faulty or if it was maybe the guy who was filling it up at the gas station was maybe a little too rough with it. So I brought it back to where I bought it, which was Next Adventure in Portland, and they confirmed that it was a leak. So basically what I had to do was just leave the hose connected to the tank, not to the stove, just to the tank, and thankfully it wasn't leaking in that situation. So yeah, I don't know. I'll probably get another one and just see what it's about, or I might end up just buying kind of a generic 5-pound tank, because another thing that I definitely want to do on the cruiser is either get a rear bumper with some swing outs, or I can just get a tailgate swing out so I can mount propane and some extra fuel. Those are two fairly important things, I'd say, to have on some long overland trips, especially in the Land Cruiser, because this thing does not get good gas mileage. We went from the Prius to the Monster sucking up all the fuel. I'm sorry. We don't drive this thing that much. We only, besides when we drive it across the country. Sorry. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the gear portion. If you're interested in seeing more about the Land Cruiser, I'll also link the walk around video. That's pretty much all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along with me. I'm gonna sit out here in the woods for a little bit longer and enjoy this lovely evening. It's pretty moderately warm out here, so it's not too bad. So again, thanks for watching. If this video helped you, please give it a like and consider subscribing to our channel. If you haven't watched our cross-country road trip series yet, I'll link that up here. Lots of fun stuff in those videos. Going to Utah was fantastic, so I would highly encourage you to watch those. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.